What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 4 different Bitcoin forks in this video. We're going to talk about Bitcoin Cash, BSV, XEC, and BTG, right? eCash, Bitcoin Gold, BSV, and Bitcoin Cash. At the request of Mr. Hat, MHAT, we're doing this for you. The idea is to kind of compare these and see which one might be the best performer for this cycle, right? My favorite, just first and foremost, is Bitcoin Cash, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the top performer or the expected top performer out of these 4. Maybe it is. I wouldn't be surprised with that either, but let's just see how it goes. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get going, you guys. So the idea here is I'm going to measure and just, instead of doing like a deep analysis on each of these, I'm going to do just like a rough analysis as to where I expect the all-time highs for this cycle to be, or the cycle highs will be for this cycle, right? So from a high to a low, and I'm taking it from the high to low of this overall range because Bitcoin Cash itself is neither in a downtrend nor is it in an uptrend, right? It doesn't, even though it's got higher lows, it's got lower highs, it's not in an uptrend or a downtrend, it's in a consolidation phase. The next time that it moves up, which I do assume to be soon, it'll break out of this consolidation phase. If it's doing that, we take the high to the low to measure the extended targets, right? And that's exactly what we did at the beginning here, right, with this fib right there. So high to low, extended targets, 13K to 53K. That's the normal expectation. If this was my first time looking at Bitcoin Cash, I would just draw that, and that would definitely be the maximum expected target. But being that we talk about Bitcoin Cash, and I do analysis on this thing like daily, if not weekly at times, right? I know, or maybe I don't know, but I have more of a feeling that we're going to top off somewhere around here to the 1272, right? The 1618 is not on the table for me. It's not necessarily off the table. I wouldn't bet on it not happening, but I'm just not betting on it happening, right? 23K I could definitely see happening, and even above that, right? I don't think you have to stop here. So if we move up a little bit, that'd be to 25K. I think that's a nice kind of like round number to just estimate from. If we take the current price here, we go to the minimum expected target, we get about a 40x in growth for Bitcoin Cash. At a minimum, I'm going to write that down, at a minimum expected target, and then the kind of maximum expected target would be at 25K there. That's about a 70, is it a 78x? Is that right? Am I at the right place? Yeah, 78x, okay. 78, right? Yeah, that's at 25K. Okay, cool. Now let's do the same thing for BSV. That was quick and easy because we do Bitcoin Cash all the time. These next ones might take some time, but let's just try. From the discernible all-time high to the discernible low, this is absolutely the high that cascaded you down to these lows here, right? It wasn't this one. So even though this is kind of like your fake out double top, high here, low here, just below the 618, just like Bitcoin Cash, holding the 236, nice. That's good. Hopefully you'll move up here. I don't know, right? Bitcoin SV is so new. We don't know if it's going to see new all-time highs, but let's assume it does. Okay. And this is, again, where I'm not as positive that for Bitcoin Cash, I'm very confident that we don't see the 1618 being hit, right? For BSV, that could happen. Maybe it hits that. Maybe it goes past that. I really don't know. So this is a little bit trickier here, right? We've never been in the overbought zone on the monthly, right? We've rarely been in the overbought zone on the weekly, right? This is definitely looking more bullish this time around, but we're not bearing any fruit yet. Anyways, to the best of my abilities here, minimum expected target, maximum expected target. Let's measure from the current price and just see what we can get. All right, from the current price there, minimum would be about a 26x, right? And then the maximum, we'll actually just take the 1618 here, right? That would be about a 70, let's call it an 80x. It's about an 80x there, because that line's just a little bit below it, so I think it would be about an 80x. So Bitcoin SV's minimum expected target is about half of Bitcoin Cash's minimum expected target, but its maximum expected target is just slightly, just barely. It's Bitcoin Cash is 78x, BSV is 80x for its maximum expected target. And of course, the minimum, the maximum, you could fall short or exceed either of these numbers. They're just ideas, right? It's not a requirement or a written prophecy. It's an idea. It's a forecast, and the forecast doesn't have to be right, right? Ideally it is, but it's a pretty big range nonetheless. So hopefully it shouldn't be too hard to be right. But this 80x for BSV here is at the 1618, where Bitcoin Cash's 80x or 78x comes in around its 1414. So that is something to note, right? If Bitcoin Cash doesn't see its 1618, could BSV not see its 1618? And at which case the 1414, maybe it tops off around there. That's at a 42x, and Bitcoin Cash's minimum expected target, in my opinion, would be 40x, right? So stuff to think about there. Let's move on. XEC, eCash. And I don't know how accurate this chart is. I want to take, let's see. Do we have, yeah, maybe on Binance? What's that low? That low is at 4018. We go back to this one, the low is at 508. So see, that's going to give us different projections. And this is really hard to do because, I mean, is that a true all-time high? I don't know, right? Like, is that a true all-time high? Bybit, maybe? Nope. 4041, right? And then Binance was what? 4028. So it's very different. It's very hard to estimate here. This might be where we have to go into CoinGecko and just find a level that we can think sounds nice, I guess, in the market cap. XEC, eCash, like something that's doable, right? Okay. Market cap is 685 million. A coin like this could definitely achieve tens of billions of dollars. Okay, so if it were, let's just say, to achieve a $69 billion market cap, that would be a 100x from here. And I say it could, that doesn't mean that I expect it to, nor would I bet on it happening, but something to think about, right? It definitely could see that kind of growth this cycle, right? But we don't really know. And based off, I mean, if we really, I don't know what chart to use, man. Would it be best to just use gate.io? I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it off a gate here. And let's just see, right? Are any of these a 100x? Nope. And nope. Those are pretty similar targets to BSV, and that kind of makes sense to me as well, actually. Hard to say with this one. I'm going to say, Mr. Hat, I'm the least confident on this prediction. It doesn't feel right to do it, but we're just going to do it for the sake of the video here. 26x, right, for XEC. That's the minimum. That's the same as BSV. And then the maximum based on the 1618 would be about a 75x. So that's the lowest maximum so far that we have, right? Lowest maximum with the tie for the lowest minimum as well. So definitely not the preferred choice. But this one's so unknown. I don't know. It's got the youngest chart so far, so it really could, and the lowest market cap of the three, I think. So it really could see more growth. It is completely fair, I think, to consider higher prices, but that doesn't mean that it will, right? It might not even see new all-time highs. It's completely possible that it doesn't. It's hard to say, right? The only one so far that I'm very confident will have new all-time highs this cycle is Bitcoin Cash. Pretty confident in BSV, but most confident in Bitcoin Cash, right? As we go down the list, it's a little bit less confident. Maybe Bitcoin Gold has a little more confidence than XEC here. If we take the all-time high to the low here, and I don't know, is that the all-time high? That's what they got on crypto. BitGet, no. Gate, high to low. Looks respected enough. I'm gonna use that. So 3,200, 19,000, something like that. Sounds about right. Wouldn't it be great if all these Bitcoin forks saw like 20K? I guess this one probably not, but if they all saw 20K this cycle, that'd be awesome. BTG, what's this one at? Just because Bitcoin topped off at 20K in one of its prior cycles, right? BTG here, 386 million. So about half of the last one gives it even more room to grow, right? From its current price to the minimum expected target, that would be a lot. Wow. That would be a lot, yeah. That would be a 146, almost a 147x, really. I'm going to call it a 147x, right? So 147x for BTG. And then that would make the maximum 876x. No, I don't think that's gonna happen. That doesn't sound right. So let's see. Maybe it could see a 300. 315x. That's a lot. So definitely the lowest market cap one is the one that has the most potential to grow. And based on its fib targets, right, makes the most sense for growth. Its minimum target is significantly higher than anything else's maximum target, let alone its maximum target of 315x. So that's interesting to note, right? A lot of volume here. A lot of, I mean, as you can see, we clicked through a few exchanges. A lot of them have picked up BTG within this cycle or the prior bull cycle, right? So recently, for some reason, right? Even Bybit, right? It's a pretty big exchange. Picked it up back in, like, at the very end, even technically after the bull cycle peaked there, right? So, I don't know. Stuff to think about. It could do well, right? This one genuinely could be the top performer of all the four that we've talked about so far, right? It's not one that I personally own. Maybe I should change that. Maybe I should own some. I don't know. What exchanges is it available on? I don't think I can buy it. I'd have to go through other means. Anyways, let's see. Let's move on here. Okay, so BTG definitely coming in at the top there as far as potential goes. But as far as likelihood goes, we don't know. If we talk about everything now together, at least in this scope, right? It's not just candlestick charts. It's not this, right? It's a line chart, and each color is a different crypto, right? So Bitcoin Cash is the green one, BSV is the white one, XEC is the purple one, and Bitcoin Gold is the yellow one, okay? If that doesn't make sense, hopefully you can see it over here. Anyways, green Bitcoin Cash, white BSV, purple XEC, yellow Bitcoin Gold. I didn't choose the colors. Actually, I did choose the white and the gold, to be fair. I didn't choose the green and the purple, though. So if we look at this throughout its all-time history since Bitcoin Cash existed, right, definitely had the most growth, like had the highest point out of all these so far, but relative to the rest of these, it's pretty near, right? They're all pretty close to each other, but it is at the top. I think it is, yeah, that is at the top. 6.43%, 3.46% on the purple one, yeah. So it is ranking in at the top here. These ones are in the negative in comparison to where Bitcoin Cash is relative to this point here. That's what this percentage is for all these, okay? In case anybody's lost as to what these percentages are, where they come from, it comes from this exact point here, right? Bitcoin Cash, as of now, in US dollars, is valued 6.48% more than it was on its first closing month, is all that's saying. All of these relative to that price are negative. So that's not necessarily fair, is it? Or would it be based on its price or based on the respected chart's price? I think it'd be based on the respected chart's price. Anyways, let's move on here. So as we get closer, stuff that's like relative to this cycle, okay, like 2023 to 2024, we can see still Bitcoin Cash is at the top here. However, things have turned a little bit, right? The purple one is now on the bottom, which that's XEC right here, this one. That's the one that I was kind of the least impressed with out of all these four, right? So makes sense that it's on the bottom. No offense to the XEC people. BSV, second to last. I wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected it to be under Bitcoin Cash, maybe even above it is kind of what I was thinking. But Bitcoin Gold coming in above these two is interesting, right? And that kind of goes in line with, and even at its peak here, it was above these other ones. So that goes in line with the thought that, you know, maybe there's something going on with Bitcoin Gold, and we were looking at that chart, right? There's some more volume coming in here. It's on some big exchanges. Bybit's not like the biggest exchange, but it is a pretty big exchange and a reputable one at that. Gate.io, again, not the biggest exchange, but still, it's you know, people know about it. BitGet too, same thing, right? But again, these are all exchanges that kind of picked it up recently, which I think is interesting, right? And more volumes coming in recently too. So maybe there's more than meets the eye with this one. I don't know. Might be something to consider if you're a Bitcoin Cash person or a Bitcoin Fork person. Bitcoin Gold might be something to consider, is what I'm getting from this. I don't know, Mr. Hat, I don't know if this is what you wanted out of this video, if I did exactly what you were looking for, if I did more, if I did less. Let me know in the comments, or let me know, you know, in Discord, whatever. I hope this did the trick. I don't think I have anything else that I want to say. To the best of my abilities, I tried to guess where these things could top off. I'm really not certain about XEC or BTG, right? Even BSV, like truthfully, all three of these, they're so young that it's really hard. BSV, I'm a little bit more confident in than either of these two, because I couldn't get a true high and low with either of these, right? But it is what it is. You know, we try to make sense out of it with the market cap too, so we got some numbers at least. But it seems to me, out of the ones that are likely to see new all-time highs, Bitcoin Cash would be the obvious choice, right? And then we can go back to this chart to kind of reference that, right, in accordance to what we've seen so far since late 2022 until now. Bitcoin Cash is definitely at the top. If we're talking about all four of them, not just BCH and BSV, BTG might be something of interest, might be something to consider. If you see where it is in reference to BCH, right, it is at the top of the underdogs, okay? But it is still the underdog. BCH is still the daddy, right? It's the Mac Daddy, the mama, I don't know, whatever. I don't presume to know its gender, okay? I know that that's a crime these days. What I'm trying to say is that out of these two, Bitcoin Cash is the likely one, but out of the four, BTG is potentially a good choice. But because it's so low, I don't think that you should just throw all of your money into BTG. None of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You do what you want with your money. It's your money, right? Do what you want. But if I was looking at this chart and I was thinking, oh my God, BTG kind of looks good. It might be a hidden gem. I should throw some money in there. I would only throw some money in there, right? I would throw most of my money in Bitcoin Cash or other projects, right? Diversify. BTG has a lot of potential. It could really grow a lot, and because of that, you don't need to put a lot of money in it, right? A lot of people do things in the sense, a lot of people do things in the way that I'm about to explain, which it's kind of logical, but whenever in theory it's logical, but whenever put into reality, it always screws you up, okay? So what a lot of people do is they'll hear, oh, this one has the most potential for growth. This one could make the most money. I'm going to put all of my money, or as much of it as I possibly can that I'm comfortable with, into this project and make all the money that in the world, because this is the one that's going to go up the most, right? It sounds nice. It's a nice idea. It's a beautiful story, a beautiful picture in your head, right? But that's not reality, right? Most of the time, in fact, it's the coins that, or the projects, the stocks, whatever, that you expect to grow the most that underperform the most, right? It's the coins that, or the investments that you kind of don't expect much from that do the best. At least in my experience and the experience of plenty of investors and traders throughout the world, right, and throughout history. It's just something that happens. I don't know how to explain it. It's like human nature, psychology, to just kind of be counter to what the reality of the situation is. I don't know, right? It's that herd mentality, contrarian stuff. But all I'm trying to say here, let's wrap up this video before I keep mumbling on here, is that if I was to put money into BTG, and I might honestly, I wouldn't look at it as, you know, it's going to 147x, it's going to 315x. I wouldn't look at it like that. I would look at it as it could do this. That's nice. If I put $1,000 in, it could turn into a decent amount of money. You know, if $1,000 is your whole portfolio, maybe don't put that $1,000 in there. Maybe do like 500, right, or something like that. If 10,000 is your whole portfolio, maybe do like 20% of your portfolio, right? Don't put half. If at $1,000, half your portfolio is 500. Most people can probably make $500 in you know, I don't know how long it takes for most people to make $500. You know, maybe a week for some people, maybe a month for some people, maybe longer. You know, I don't know everyone's financial situations. But whenever it comes to something like that, it's easier to make that money up. That's why at $1,000, I think it's acceptable to use 500, half of your like total portfolio, to invest. But if you're at like $10,000, maybe like 20%, 30%. I don't think 50% would be appropriate for that, right? And then same thing with any number above that, right? And even then, like for my portfolio, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable putting more than like 5% in, right? Like that'd be the most that I would feel comfortable with, right? So just a little food for thought there. I do think it has the potential, Bitcoin Gold, to move up the most out of all these coins. But that doesn't mean bet the house on it. That doesn't mean put everything on it, right? In fact, that means put a little bit on it because it could turn into a lot. Put a little bit on it because if not, at least you don't lose a lot, right? And at least most of your money's in the safer investment, the more likely investment, the one that I'm more confident in, or not even the one that I'm confident in, but another one that you're confident in, an investment of your choice, right? Something like that. So I don't know. I know I went on a lot at the end there, but I just wanted to be very peculiar because I don't want anyone to get messed up, right? I know that it's really nice whenever you go on YouTube and you're scouring the internet for these obscure coins that might do well, that just enough people are in the know about, but not everybody knows about it, so you can get in early, right? And you want to catch that moonshot. I want you to catch that moonshot too. I want to catch that moonshot, but most of the time it doesn't happen, and most of the time it's disappointing, and it'll be very disappointing if you put all your money in it and it just is a womp womp, right? Like that, and this one really skyrockets, right? When you could have done the obvious choice, right? So been there, done that. I don't want people to go through that same thing. That's why I'm really like heavily explaining this, you know, at the cost of boring people and letting people walk away from the video. But I said most of the important stuff already, right? I got the comparison out. I think it's obvious, right? This is just more preaching, I guess. But if you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I hope you all make a lot of money in whatever Bitcoin fork you're invested in, or whatever altcoin stock, whatever you're invested in. You know, it's about to be really good, you guys. I think the tide is turning right now, and we are so close. I can taste it, man. It's crazy because it hasn't happened yet, so it just seems so far away, but it's about to happen, man. We are right there. We're right there, and I can't wait. I'm gonna get the champagne out. We're gonna get silly. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.